Hello, Poggers, and welcome to another episode of the Pog State. I actually managed to knock Dan out of his chair almost, like a little bit. I saw him levitate. That was fantastic. I managed to get what we needed. And Sheep Police knows because he sees it here. The Hello Poggers at the beginning with try to make sure that Dan is launched out of his chair. So Sheep Police understood that. I'm Alice. I'm joined this time for this episode by Digon, Valdez, and Dan. The Tridans.
The Tridans.
Oh my goodness, this is fantastic.
Today's space, actually.
Yeah, exactly. Today's space. It's like I get to interview you after your great performance on the space. How did you guys think that you did today? No, what we're going to be talking about is the playoffs and how ridiculous it's been. I don't think there's been a playoffs of any kind that has been this not what we expected at almost every single turn.
I agree. As the worst predictor, that I agree.
Digon was the most surprised. That's what he means by he's the worst predictor. He was the most surprised by it. Right?
Yeah.
You also predicted Bro versus DRX.
The only one that got that one wrong.
Yeah. Well, were you the worst predictor in playoffs?
No.
Hold up.
That was Wolf.
Yeah. You came into playoffs as
what?
Yeah.
the worst predictor. And
Read the sheet, guys.
Wait, no, Digon is the worst.
No, that's carrying over his score from before. But in playoffs, he has 8 out of 13.
Play-ins plus playoffs total. 8 out of 13.
Which is tied with a lot of people. You know,
Everyone except Wadood.
And Wolf. Wolf is slightly below. Wadood's slightly ahead.
Yep.
So your playoff judgment, middle of the pack.
Yeah, and if you didn't vote for Bro, you would have been the same as Wadood. So
Exactly.
There you go. He had to pay the bro tax, though.
Yeah, there you go.
The Bro Tax was the group battle.
And if you didn't tank the group battle, who knows where you could be?
Oh, sky's the limit, basically.
Well,
Man.
right, the cellar is where I'm at.
However, you wouldn't have been nearly as surprised. And we know that it was a very surprising playoffs. And so I think that it's better to be the one most surprised by the playoffs. You know? It's
been pleasant.
The best thing about the whole predictions is that Valdez and I have been like even on predictions for like what feels like the last 2 to 3 years or something like that. And that stays true. Exactly the same in the playoffs and in the group battle. And we picked different teams, right? We didn't like always pick the same.
Yeah.
It just always adds up.
I went for DNS over DK, and then that was wrong. But you went for Nongshin over DNS, and that was wrong.
Yep.
We both got KT wrong, just like
I got
most
the
people.
DRX freebie. That random one.
Yeah.
I did want to add,
Please.
Chronicler reached out to me.
Oh, yeah.
Wanted to let
This
me
is really
know.
important.
Okay.
So I actually was checking. He told me all of his individual predictions. I actually cross-referenced them.
With the results, did you?
Yes, and it seemed he got, if we carry this, 39 out of 30. 38 out of 38.
Okay.
So,
okay. Not 39 out of 38. That would be more difficult.
No, that'd be pretty difficult. But it seems he got full marks.
You know, if it was 30 out of 38, that would be almost fraudulent.
Well, of course not. Of course not.
not.
Would
Yeah.
never.
I mean, we have the
suggest.
proof there. We'll show it on the video.
Yeah.
It's right there. It's
He really has
Official.
been a B&K purist, hasn't he?
Yeah. He even got today's series correct, which was crazy. And he got the scores right too on all.
Wow.
Of them.
Yeah, of course.
So just because
I guess
think,
like we always knew he was a bit of a T1 hater.
Yeah.
So it does make
Well, I
sense that he
think-
predicted against them.
I think one thing I've noticed is that he obviously valued predictions a lot while he was here at the LCK.
Yes.
But having to work at the LCK took away from his time focusing on
dedicated to
predictions.
predicting.
Yeah, so now that he's not here working, he has a lot more time to just lock in and really focus on who he's predicting.
Think about it. He has to spend so much time in the present when really he wants to be in the future.
I'm sorry, Mao. This is after the game 5. We're all pretty good. Oh man. All right.
At least we didn't bet his hair today.
Yeah, not this time.
Definitely would have lost it today.
Yeah. Almost thought about going in for it in one of the games today.
Yeah.
Decided not to, and ultimately it wouldn't have led to anything anyway.
I will say it feels so easy and so good. You know, because
To bet somebody else's hair?
Yes.
Yeah. I really missed that. Like, why didn't I do that? He was right next to me.
Exactly. Because I'm sure when you bet your own hair, there was tension, the remorse when it
Yeah.
started turning around. When I bet Chronicler's hair, I felt none of that. The only thing I felt was when it didn't come through, I was a bit disappointed.
Yeah, a little bit sad about it. Yeah, no, fair enough. Yeah, no, I really should have thought about that. Because then he would have been like, I'm going bald after the team fight loss. Oh, it would have been so much better. And then I wouldn't have looked like an ogre for like 3 months. It was terrible.
Yeah, the only problem is that we all know Mao, he would have looked great bald.
Yeah, true. Although,
It's not
actually,
fair.
I have
What a
no
dome.
idea what he would look like bald. Is his head a bit large? Or does he just have a lot of hair so it seems
Max,
like that?
We know.
True. It is Mel. Okay. Well, that's enough about Chronicler. I know we've had a little bit of an issue there with talking about him too much on the Pog State, but sometimes we'll just get away with it. Where are we, Sheep Police? Where are we going to next?
So we wanted to recap the play-ins and playoffs. I feel like we just talked about predictions a little bit. We should probably talk about the actual matches and what was a little bit unexpected versus what we expected to come true.
Well,
do you want to start with today, or maybe work back,
think
or
we
we
should-
could start from the beginning?
I think we should probably start at the beginning and start with like that.
I've
and
got the
then
perfect
get to
way.
today.
I've got the perfect way of figuring it out. Let's read the sheet, and it looks like we're going to go back and we're going to talk about my favorite one, because that was my Orcs moment. I hadn't had an Orcs moment before, and that was fun when DRX managed to beat Nongshim, and then immediately after the series, I had a lot of people coming up to me saying, "So was that a troll prediction? do you just like were you just like making a joke? Like, what were you thinking?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I just knew." But actually, it was mainly because I didn't really think the Nongshim bottom lane were very good, and that's why I predicted it that way. But that was a weird series, the Nongshim versus DRX. DRX actually, I think,
3-0.
are a team that I think are going to look a lot better in the LCK than what we saw here. I think the improvement from that squad was like really impressive, personally.
I mean, also, we talked extensively about it, but we got more of a snippet than we've had ever before with Coach Voice, right?
Yeah.
And we've always struggled when it comes to the end of the year and you're voting for Coach of the Year, Coach of the Split. Like, how do we judge when we get such limited insight into how much the coaches are contributing? We saw a lot from what Joker was adding to this team. And also it felt like, okay, well, is this team going to struggle without Coach Voice? But it definitely felt like we saw this team had leveled up a lot. And I think that gave us a lot of faith that there will be a continued leveling up of this team as they go forward.
I think they're kind of solved. Yeah. I don't know how much Rich can continue to have performances above what we expected, but he played really well. He did play really well. Whereas Andal, I think we kind of had him in the same tier as Rich of like, wow, Andal playing well as well. But in their knockout match later on in the playoffs, it felt like, oh no, Andal, your engages are hitting, but not the right time. Whereas before, earlier in play-ins and I think in their group battle matches, it felt like Andal was the go button and everyone was ready to go. But when teams started playing a little bit more complicated compositions against that, he struggled to know when to go. And then once they started not being correct on going in, that's when that team hesitation started to come in as well. So those are the two players that I have the most concern about, and Joker will have his work cut out for him. But I think, yeah, it's can Rich keep up the form where we're looking at him being like, wow, our top laners are stacked if Rich is able to have carry performances in losses that keeps the team in the game. And then can Andal be the early game team fight shot caller starter that his team can trust every single time? That's my worry with DRX. Yukao good, Jiwoo.
Yeah, I think
okay,
Jiwoo's definitely been better. I feel like Yukal has had some absolute stinkers, though. I feel like sometimes he's fine, and other times it's like, oh, please, God.
Yeah, I feel like the entire team feels that way to me. It's just like
Teetering.
sometimes you're awesome and we're like, wow, that was crazy, you're great. And then other times it's like, what am I watching?
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate, but it does feel like, the best players in the world, they're going to be very consistent generally at playing above a certain level. And we very rarely see like big stinkers from like the best names. We see it occasionally, but I think it was really interesting to follow DRX's path throughout this, where they started off with a win against Bro, which makes sense, but then they had that big upset against Nongshim, obviously, the 3-0. That was very unexpected. Even though you expected them to win, it was still like a 3-0 was crazy. Nobody expected that to happen. But then it was just kind of like, yeah, you got a couple of games from a struggling DK, and then, we had some votes for them against DNS, but then DNS won that one. And it was like, well, we saw that high come in very early, and then once the pressure came in, we saw some of that inconsistency. And I just feel like a lot of our Rise teams, we keep using this from last year, and we're going to see Legend and Rise again this year. But a lot of our Rise teams, they're still pros. They're still really fantastic, and some of them are even like top of the solo queue rankings and stuff. Like I saw on Twitter, I think like Peter's #1 recently.
Oh my god!
You took it from my boy Bromer.
I think his agency posted that. But like, and Peter's not a great example because Peter is like a world's finalist, and he was very consistent last year at least. But I just feel like the difference between a lot of our teams is that even though they're fantastic individually, can they do this time and time again in best of fives, which is really where we see some of the Rise teams really get punished.
Yeah, I think that's my concern with DRX is too many inconsistent pieces, and it's like if you can get them all sort of firing all cylinders at the same time, great. But like to do that over the course of like a whole playoff run, over the whole season, is very difficult.
My thing is that I feel like Joker is in a position where he's been able to align the stars quite effectively. Like being able to make it so that he can give his players the right environment to actually perform. And like you're saying, it is very difficult to get everyone working in the same way. They do feel a little bit like they're teetering. But for me, they found more consistency than I was expecting out of this team throughout the LCK Cup. And I think that is a good sign moving forward if they can continue to try and build on that synergy and sort of understand what their identity looks like. Because we've seen what happens when it's not necessarily a team full of superstars. However, if they find and build that synergy, the team looks great. Like BNK Fearex are a perfect example of that. Going to Hong Kong, being able to take down T1, take a game off Gen G, and really threaten in our top 3 here at the LCK Cup. That, like, talking about the Rise Group, they were a Rise Group team last year, and I think that they're looking better and better, strength to strength, So I think that, like, DRX, I don't think that they quite have that level of potential. However, Joker is making the most out of the players that he has, and my expectation for DRX was, like, bottom 2 guaranteed.
Yeah. I do think that this year's middle of the pack is going to be very interesting because a lot of our teams that were like, 8th-ish are performing better, whereas like teams like KT and Nongshim, who were in Legend last year, not necessarily having that level of success at the beginning of the year. Although we do know the beginning of the year success doesn't always lead to, knowing exactly how they're going to perform later on. Big notice, T1 falling out 2 LCK Cups in a row where you didn't expect them, and then going on to win Worlds at least last year. We'll see about this year.
I just think if you're going to be getting out of that middle muck conversation, you need to have some sort of mercurial star on your team, which is why Diablo and BNK Fearex can do that.
A mercurial Simistar.
A Simistar.
And Raptor. Don't forget about Raptor.
And my boy Raptor, third team All-Pro Raptor. And then same thing with D+, right? You have Showmaker. You're finding out what you're getting in Smash. Lucid has these clutch moments now. So they've taken the time to build those rosters, whereas DRX, again, a lot of these guys just kind of coming on in, fitting into Yukao, who got benched for Ye, who's having himself a time in the LEC. Rich is still one of those pieces, but we go back to what we said in the very first episode of Pog State this year. Are you sticking with Willer, or is it Vincenzo time? Right? Like, you still get thoughts of like, what is our starting squad, and are we going to stick with that? So I think that's the difference right now. And is Jiwoo going to take that next step? I don't know. So it's like what you said earlier. Maybe that's not quite their potential yet.
Yeah, I'm sort of hoping that we see a little bit more. Nongshim, a little bit of a sadder story because they're on the other end of that, right? We expect this team to do a whole lot better. There are a lot of pretty big names on this squad, couple of Worlds MVPs from a few years ago. In fact, back-to-back years, 2021 and 2022. But as it turns out, that was 4 or 5 years ago, and they're not necessarily the same thing. This Nongshim roster, like on paper, looked good until it didn't. It
just felt like a lot of pretty good individual pieces just thrown together that don't necessarily fit, or at least we don't know how they fit. And it's like, is this going to work? It's like some kind of weird like Frankenstein experiment. And so far it's been
We've seen that
very middle of the pack.
We've seen it before, right? Like the whole super team meme, like 2017 KT, although that team was pretty good. Did end up losing in quarterfinals of Worlds.
2024 KT?
2024 KT.
Is that too rude?
2019 T1. There's been a few of these that have been constructed and dismantled.
I don't really feel like it's like that though. I just feel like
It's more like you just put together a whole bunch of good parts and then hope that they work together. That's what I'm saying. It's not necessarily like this is a super team because you could get better in each role. However, it does feel like they're like, this is the best of what we could find. Obviously, this team is going to be fine.
to
But
me,
some of the parts aren't working.
my concern is that I know team obviously was doing really well in the LPL, but that's always been a concern in the LCK. Scout, when he was most recently, I mean, for a while in the LPL, has just not been at the same caliber of the player that like we know the level he can perform at.
Yeah.
So you have like two big question marks, like what version of this player are we gonna get? I feel like what's frustrated me a bit is Kingen as well has had some underperformances. Like last year, I feel like in the LCK Cup he was playing really well.
Yeah.
This year it's been a bit. I feel like Lahenz's form started to slip last year as well. It felt like him and Jiu were just not gelling, and his form started to really slip as a result. It just feels like kind of everyone is not in their best form. It kind of feels like DN Freaks last year, not to the same degree, because obviously they've won games, but it just kind of feels like this team is like no player is playing close to their peak, and it's worse than the sum of their parts.
Yeah,
That's what I see this team as.
Do you know what the worst part is? It reminds me of Nongshim.
Yeah.
Back in that cursed as heck B2D roster,
Yeah.
which just had so many
boy
great
Dread.
players. Dread's career exploded because of that.
Right?
That
Yeah.
year. Docdom was on it.
And, who's his support?
I don't remember. This is the squad.
I don't want to
that-
remember the roster. It was too sad. It was too sad.
This is the squad that I want to give time to, right? Because they are so underperforming. Like even through probably like the final 2 weeks of the second round, I would say like I give him that much time because this is Sponge's first time out of DRX, right? He needs to figure out an environment that isn't built around him and how he's going to gel because we've seen Lahenz struggle. And so when Lahenz is struggling, will he override his Hyung, right? Because we know that this is kind of Lahenz's team. Lahenz's listen to your Hyung thing was like working when it was working, and then it went to crap when it wasn't working, and no one could right that ship. Didn't seem like Kingen was that kind of guy. Kingen was, that looks like a bad team fight. I'm not going to teleport to. I'm going to try to split push and win the game. So we know what's going to happen there. So I think Sponge has to be the guy that could be like, hey, let's figure out how I can feed Scout. How can I get Kingen going when things aren't going right down there on the bottom side of the map?
I feel like honestly, for me, Sponge needs to be micromanaged by Lahenz to like an insane degree. So I feel like Sponge has always had this issue where when he's fed, when the game's going good, great. When he's not, oh God, what is he doing? And I feel like Lahenz just needs to be on him and just be like, go there, go here, do this, do that. Because we know, like, mechanically, this guy is proficient, right? He is a good player, but just like, I feel like sometimes he has that solo queue brain.
Yeah.
And I just think, like, a player like Lahenz, like, I don't think that partnership is inherently bad, but I just think, like, maybe Lahenz has his hands full with, he's like, Sponge, do this.
Micromanaging too
Taeyun,
much.
do that.
Yeah.
Scout's just in the mid lane, like, why are my teammates speaking Korean and not Chinese now?
Where am I?
Keegan's in the top lane, like, just leave me alone.
Yeah.
I've got the update for the Nongshim roster. Dokdam didn't play with BDD. He played with Bay in the mid lane.
Oh,
it was Bay, Peanut,
God.
Rich.
That was the year after, wasn't it?
Yes, and then he played with Gory of Golden Guardians first
Yeah.
team all pro fame.
So it wasn't Duck Down with BDD.
It was not Duck Down
Who
with
was
BDD.
the bottom lane?
Who was the bottom lane?
It was Kellen. Dokdam and Kellen with Peanut. That was the cursed part. They were
With BDD?
No, that was the good roster.
Oh, with
that
BDD?
was the gory.
Yeah, Yeah, that was,
Peanut,
that was an
Duck
okay
Tom
one.
Kellen.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was fine.
I was looking at Duck Dom's career. Now let me switch on over to Nongshim and see what it was. This
Go
is-
Nongshim or go BDD, and you'll find
Yeah.
those are the pieces we know 100%. Or just go Dread.
I have
This is
to.
last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah,
I'll find it.
Dread's probably the easiest one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll find it. They
How about we
changed
talk
team
about
names.
DNS?
Okay.
DNS has been a really interesting team for me in this playoffs because I feel like a lot of people underrated them for a good reason because, you know, like they still have a decent amount of pieces from last year, and they couldn't make it work. But this time they have Duck Dom and or Peter,
Yep.
and those two weren't necessarily performing very well coming into play-ins and playoffs. So it was kind of like, okay, well, this team isn't ready to win much. But then they beat KT, and it was like that was a 2-0, and that was like, well, that was unexpected. Only Wade thought they were going to win, and then they beat Nongshim, and it was like, okay, DNS are a real team. And then B&K, our second place team, DNS took them to 5. You remember that went 3-2, and DNS was going to win that
They
game.
should. Oh my
Yeah.
god! When they
And
downed
they
the
did
Nexus
one of the
towers.
worst tries to end the game I've ever seen, which it like wasn't even close. The second Nexus tower was still alive when they all died.
I'm
like
just gonna say-
Peter
I'm
just
just
died
gonna
to
say-
the turret. Like it was really messy. But they could have been in the upper bracket instead of B&K.
I'm just gonna say, if
So-
coach comms was still a thing at that point, and I was the coach, I would have just turned it on and just started screeching at them, unintelligible noises at
would
that
have
point. Like the sheer outrage at that
Why
moment.
is it like you can change a whole bunch about a team? You can change their name, but it's still just going to have the most disappointing end of game moments.
Yeah. Well, remember, Dan, according to Degon's Fact of the Week, DNS used it the least because Odin was trying to prepare them for that exact moment.
Maybe they should have been like, you can save up your coach comms, and it's like if you want to use it at a later stage, it costs like more. Like
Yeah, for every 5 you didn't use in the group battle, you get to use one in the playoffs.
Yeah, like this costs like 10 because you used it late in playoffs. 10 to say, what are you doing?
just press B, you idiots.
Wadid and Umpty were super high on the supers just because of their talent, right? Wadid's comments in the wins were like all lane gap. You should be able to win based off of the nameplate and how good you are. And against worst team, I think they're going to be the 6th place team. They are you're better than them, you're in Legend. You're worse than them, you're stuck in Rise.
I mean, I
That's
think
what
they'll
it
be a
feels
50-50 team forever
like. Yeah.
until Pioshik retires.
Well, they weren't a 50-50 team last year.
But these are different players.
But they've got a different bottom lane, and
I think it's kind of interesting because I
lane.
don't even necessarily see the bottom lane as that much of an upgrade. Just because Berserker was super good. Like,
I think
I guess, like,
Duck
For the-
Dom and Peter are better.
I think they're fine. But I don't think that
They
KT's
weren't better.
success was based on Doc Dum and Peter. I think KT's success was based on BDD and Cuz.
I don't know. I think Duck Dom was really good. I think Peter was doing his job. I think Duck Dom really leveled up towards the end of last year.
I think it's a
And he was
complicated
good.
thing.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
I don't think that they necessarily slot in and make something better is the thing. I think that they require like a certain team to flourish.
thing is,
if that
I
makes
think
sense.
it's, to me, it's a complicated thing because it's like, yes, like if you rank in order of importance, like it was obviously BDD then, Cuz, then I would say Dr. Peter, perfect.
Yeah.
But like, they weren't really winning until Peter came in, right?
Yep.
And it's like, how much of that was down to Peter? How much of that was down to
Vibes.
the rest of the team
Yeah.
leveling up? Like
How
the
much was
vibes
that
coming in?
vibes? How much was that his play?
Yeah, Dogdown definitely leveled up and had a big role in some of the bigger series against like
Ziggs.
Genji,
Yeah,
for example. It's also like you look at the fact that DNS, right, Pioshik and Dudu obviously look way better, but like those two were part of the team last year who were doing terrible. And like Peter and Dogdam, joining, obviously Closer as well, but the team looks way better. And it's like there's a lot of intangibles that aren't necessarily what we see on the Rift, and it's like how much are they bringing behind the scenes that are contributing factors. So it's like I think a lot of people, I've seen this discussion a lot online, it's like say not even Cuz and BDD. A lot of people are like KT was just BDD and it was like BDD and 4 wards. I've seen that discussion a ton, and it's like I think
It
it's
can
hard.
never be that.
Yes.
However, the level of importance on KT took a lot of slack, gave a lot of slack to Dr. and Peter because they weren't the superstars, right?
And you're saying they can't just slot into a new team and carry them? Like they're not those players.
I don't. They
Which
weren't,
they're not.
They weren't like the linchpin of KT and what made them good. I felt like all four of the players in Perfect. I think 4 of KT like it. The magic got together.
Perfect slander, yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's not even slander. He didn't get any resources. He was just told, like, don't die top. Like,
Perfect facts.
Every game.
Sorry, not slander. Perfect facts.
I mean,
yes.
I definitely agree, but I also think that like people do sometimes hyper focus on like the more carry oriented roles and sort of ignore like the facilitator role.
Justice for supports.
Justice for supports. Yes.
And again, like I'm not saying in any way that like that means that role outweighs like the role BDD had on that team, but I do think like there's an argument he said that like if it wasn't Peter and it was a different support, a much weaker support, KT's year would have gone differently, right? And they wouldn't have made it to the finals. So
yeah,
I do think that the change in roster clearly has made a big difference to DNS, and clearly Pioshik and Dudu are playing way better as a result. Hopefully, I expect Dudu to keep it up. Pioshik, we'll flip a coin and see.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a much better look for them so far. And the only thing that I'm a bit concerned about is there's still inconsistency issues with Dogdown because he's been really hit or miss, I think.
For me, the biggest upgrade is Closer. I just think Closer is just really good. I think he's been really good for a while, even when he was on the Bros. Mm-hmm. Like, he was still just great. Like, this guy is, like, never cared whether he's on, like, the best org in the world ever. He's just
and he was
wanted
once.
to play. He definitely was once. But then he was like, you know what? Maybe this isn't what it's cracked up to be. I'd prefer just to be playing
isn't
for
for
Live
me.
Sandbox, playing for Bro. Like, and I think that like Closer is just like what that team needed, because like Yehu was doing not a whole lot of anything at all, which sort of put this huge dent in what like the DN Freaks were trying. Sorry, not
Bulldog.
Yehu. It was Bulldog. They're both Kwandong Freaks, like just not quite able to fight. That for me, it's the same player in my head because they swap positions and nothing changed.
Yeah.
Both of them just kind of leave a rift in that mid lane, and when there's like a rift in mid, then it like swallows everything. And even if Dudu's doing well, he has to overextend in order to do well, and then dies, and then everything falls apart, and you go on a loss streak that rivals that of that Shanghai Dragons roster in Overwatch and stuff. And it's terrible.
Well, you know who got a good look at what it's like when that rift gets filled? Bulldog, because he was there for the series win. True. Because he was visiting
Yikes.
from LPL. Again,
Yep.
shout out to Bulldog. He was in there are 3 groups in the LPL. He's in the lowest group. They went undefeated. They get their lower bracket run in the playoffs and bombed out in their first series because they were playing better opponents. Feels sad for Bulldog and Krakow, who were on that LNG roster. But yeah, Bulldog got to see the Freaks win in LCK, a playoff series without him, and he was gracious about it on camera. Also, we spent a lot of time talking about BDD, so let's finish that. What happened? On
What was
Knockdown roster.
what was the roster?
Kana and Dindin,
Oh, it was the
Yeah,
Kana
Kana, yeah.
roster.
Sylvie and Dread. BDD was sharing it with
Forgot about Sylvie.
Fiesta,
Yeah, good old Fiesta.
and then it was Ghost.
The Ghost roster. Of
Ghost
course
roster.
it was.
Ghost Vital,
Yeah.
and then pick your support of Effort, Peter, and Blessing.
Wait, pick your support, but they already had Ghost.
Yeah, so that was the Ghost and Peter was the best one, and then they barely ever ran that because they kept running. It wasn't Blessing. They only played him like once or twice, but
And then the summer split, they swapped out Blessing, and Snowflower was there. as
yeah,
well.
and when they called in Snowflower, who unretired to join the roster, we were all like, the depression really hit peak.
Was that like the Googer unretiring? As
Yeah,
well?
it was horrific, and
Okay.
it didn't do anything to help anything.
just made it worse,
It made it way worse.
actually.
Because like that team on paper, like you think about it, even afterwards, Canna has found a bunch of success. BDD found success. I mean, Canna did have to go overseas in order to do so, but like. Oh god! As far as the sum of the parts, obviously, like Ghost was never really the reason why Damwon were able to win Worlds in 2020, but he wasn't terrible, and
his
he's
job.
also great vibes. Like I don't know, man, that team should have been good, but it wasn't. So like that's where I was at for the Nongshim of today. because it's also not quite working yet. It's still early days. We don't, all of these stats disappear as we head towards the LCK,
Until next year.
There's certainly some teams hoping they'll disappear.
Yes. All right.
Where
Let's
do we go next?
Let's
This
move
is
on to
fun.
the next one.
This is fun.
Oh God. Okay. So
Do we go to 4th or the 4th seed? What do you want to do, Max?
what do you mean? The 4th seed would be DK, would it not?
Yeah, but who's
But
4th?
like 4th is T1, so
Fourth
we could
seed,
talk about them
yeah.
getting booted out. T1.
Look at Dan's eyes. Oh my
No, no,
god,
no.
I punched.
Don't be too excited.
I was so excited.
Do we have bleeps available for the Pog State? Because like I feel
Yes.
like I
Hey.
want like T1 f***ed around and found out.
What?
They
Guys.
did, straight up.
We should be congratulating them. This is a massive improvement on last
true.
year.
Wait, did they double their standing?
They didn't
when did
double.
They went
They
from
didn't quite
6th
double.
to 4th.
6th to 4th.
That's
pretty good.
Wow.
Rise
good,
to legend.
Good job, T1.
That's a 50% increase.
Yes, but they were felled by the same fate of being defeated by a player that was on their roster the year before. It was Zeus the year before with Hanwha. This time, it's Smash getting the job done in a best-of-5
I
series
mean, he
that goes all
finished them
5.
off. I feel like B&K kind of got them ready.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
most of the work was done in the microwave and they were finished off in the oven.
I don't think so. They were up 2-0 against D plus Kia. I think,
This one feels a lot worse.
yeah, absolutely.
Even though obviously last time it was 6th, it was super close series. HLE went on to win, LCK Cup and win first hand, and it was single limb at that point, right?
Yeah.
So you lost to the best team in the tournament and eventually the best team in the world at that point, right? And it was kind of like you ended up 6th because kind of off the format.
With a mostly returning roster from the LCK Summer Championship.
Yeah.
Right? So, like,
Yeah.
it was mostly the same except the top lane swap.
It was a tough draw.
Yeah.
I think everyone kind of agreed. Tough draw
Yeah.
for T1. This time around, though, you had double limb, right? Okay, you had 2 chances, and you know what?
And you had 2 Rise Group teams!
And you know what? There is one team that I think is so hard to face domestically, right? They are domestic titans.
God, I know where you're going.
And they're so hard to face
Oh,
down.
yeah, true.
And you're always like, it's cool, we'll just wait, we'll beat them at Worlds. If they beat us domestically, we'll beat them at Worlds. You didn't even face them. You didn't even face Genji a single time at the LCK Cup, and you still lost. So, I don't know. This is pretty dire.
It's kind of hilarious that they were in the same group as well. So they didn't face off in the group battle. They didn't face off anywhere.
Not a single
We
game.
just didn't get one Genji T1 throughout the whole thing.
Not
Oh
a
my
single
God.
time. 2026, we haven't seen Genji T1
I have a feeling
time.
we'll never see it in the LCK Cup for 2026.
Yeah, I don't think so. Genji are just sitting there waiting for the bracket, looking at the bracket like, who are you guys? Where is T1? They're not even sending HLE.
Oh man. It was such a weird day today. It was such a
Yeah.
weird day because like you look at those first 2 games and I was like, oh man, this Pog State's going to be so boring because I'm going to
Yeah.
be like, I'm going to have so much energy. I'm not going to be tired at all. Look at us. We're a complete mess because it was like a 5-game banger out of nowhere.
I'm eating chicken nuggies.
Yeah, you are hiding chicken nuggets behind your microphone stand.
I need energy.
Yeah, it's a crazy day, and I've only got water in here, which is very upsetting. It should be coffee, but
Maybe
Yeah.
T1
What can
should have
you
done
do?
that.
Steak.
Hidden some like chicken nuggies behind the keyboard.
Maybe they ran out of energy. Yeah.
Maybe, they ran out of steam.
So
yeah,
Some
I
point
mean
in
they,
game
they
three.
looked like the better team by an absolute country mile,
yeah.
and then decided to do like the T1 circus, let's play around thing. And I don't even necessarily think that was 100% it. I think a lot of it was to do with D+, like especially leveling up drafting, but also being able to actually turn things around. And if I was T1, I'd also be very surprised that D+ were able to do that because they're not a team that have been very emotionally stable, even prior to CVMX joining the roster, but I'm sure that didn't help. I think that this team has always been like just a bit of a mess when things go wrong. So this was such a huge moment for them, but I still can't help but think, maybe like if one of the Rend smites had have worked, perhaps things would be a bit better.
We want
were-
to talk about this.
we went back, right?
no.
We were looking in the replay. Just didn't rend.
Just didn't rent.
just don't
Yeah.
Rend.
Just didn't rend. Spears stacked up, slow mo, didn't rend.
It was at like 2,000. It's like,
And-
okay, this is a very easy 1, 2, 3
Isn't
Hanado
this
set.
the Hanado set time?
Yes,
Owner
this
Schmo.
is we've seen this so many times before from T1. They'll do countdowns, whether it's double smite, Ren smite, all sorts of everything. This is a team who are so practiced. It's why T1 Baron's a thing because they know what they're doing coordinating this stuff. And we're just watching like slow-mo. We're like, okay, there's the health, there's the Lucid smite. Okay, cool. Next time we'll get it. Nope, not next time. And it's like every game you're just like, well, if they'd gotten those dragons, they would literally have soul by now.
So I was having a look at the Reddit thread afterwards, and someone
Dangerous.
said that he lost 8 smite fights. Owner lost 8 smite. And I'm not even like anywhere near close to blaming Owner for this series because
Yep.
he was
No, he
by
was going to
far
be
the
POM.
best player.
He was
Yeah.
going to be POM. Like,
by a country mile.
Yeah.
Like he was insanely good. I think like Pays probably had like a few angles because I think they
Pays
had
early
absolutely
on.
no right to win game
Yeah.
1. I thought that was the greediest, most revolting draft I've ever seen, but they absolutely played out of their minds. And I think like maybe that's what put them into a false sense of security because it's like if we can win with this 0 engage Azir Zeri Yumi composition, like well, we can win anything.
We can blind pick Kennen in the top lane
Let's-
and use our first pick for Doran, and he'll get us
And
through it.
also choose to first pick against D+, who obviously just want to go blue side in game 5
Yep.
in Fearless. I think that's insanity because of and then using it to get Kennen. So it's not like, oh, we've got this checkmate plan. No, like,
And I
I
think
don't know.
those kind of decisions require us to go back to the comments that Coma made when they lost against BNK Fear X, where they said, oh, our read on the meta was just wrong. And so we have a week to prepare. We'll go back and figure it out. And we talk about that first draft where it's like, wow, we're going Zeri Yumi early and we're not giving the best drafts
so
here.
we did
And
had
it
a good
felt
point.
not
He did
solid.
say that like the all-in of Zeri Yumi is actually pretty strong against Seraphine Ashe.
And we saw that.
Yeah, and Ox was like, yeah, well, I mean, if you just cleanse one of the ults and flash the other one, you can win anything.
Yeah.
And they absolutely did that, and it worked. So I think that there's like maybe some merit there. Maybe that was actually part of the plan. Because honestly, when I was looking at that, I'm like, there is no way that a Zeri Yumi should be able to lane at all into this. And I think that like... Obviously, Pays and Carrier played very well, but I think that was a bit on the DK bottom
should have
lane,
been
not
further
actually
behind.
pushing the advantage.
The thing is, like, they were like 700 gold up, and part of that was Carrier made the mistake and got killed. But it's like, we've seen lanes picked into the Ashe Seraphine where, like, you fall further behind than that, and the game is just over. But like Zeri Yumi, you have to get, like, if you're playing against that and you don't get them like really far behind, it's Zeri Yumi, right?
Yeah.
There's always that comeback potential. They got them 700 gold behind, even with the mistake from Carrier. And then post level 6, there is that kill threat. Ona came in for a gank. The game was blown open. So I feel like that's the angle for it. If you can play lane well enough that you don't fall that far behind, you have like the return pressure. I think that draft, I think, I saw the angle for it. I think some of the later ones there were problems with. But, I just think that, I mean, going back to the smite point before, because you kind of mentioned how like it wasn't like Ona's fault. I've seen a lot of people already saying for the series, like how
Oh no, the smites were his fault.
No, but even on that,
It's just that he was playing exceptionally well around all of it.
but even on that, because I've seen a lot of people talking online how like, oh, it's all in the jungler for the smites. To me, like if you have control of the dragon, particularly if you have like a Callista, and you're letting it come down to both junglers on the dragon, coin flip, who gets the smite 50-50, you failed as a team.
Yeah, true.
Like,
True.
Like, I think there was a lot of times where they were on the objective first. They had control of it. Lucid gets access to it, and it's a pure flip. And yes, Owner underperformed. But even if it's a flip, like, you're just getting 50% of them. If it's a pure flip, you're getting 50%. And that's not good odds when you're the ones who should be setting up and controlling. It should never be a 50-50 if you're controlling the area. If you have a Callista, definitely shouldn't be a 50-50. And the fact is, Lucid did outperform him, so obviously he got 8 in a row. But like you should be setting up in a way that just doesn't allow Lucid to get near. That's what the team should be doing. And I think they just never did that. They allowed him access to the pit, to the dragon plenty of times. The setup was poor, the setup was bad. Especially like if he's in his head now, Owner's like not in the zone, Lucid's getting all these smites, you keep letting him have access, it's just gonna snowball, which it did. And I think it was just especially for a team who we praise so much for objectives set up, I felt they were really slacking in that regard.
Yeah, I want to talk about T1's kind of mental over the course of this playoffs because against BNK, like it was pretty clear they were unprepared in one way or another. Like Koma said, it was the drafts. I think it was also the play. Like I think BNK came out much stronger than T1 expected, and
I think they came out a lot stronger than a lot of people expected.
yeah,
I wouldn't
Like,
blame T1 on that one. Yeah.
let's see.
How many of us got that one right?
We all got it wrong. Although I don't see.
Chronicler got it right, actually.
Oh yes, sorry.
Oh yeah, true. I don't see
Congrats,
the
Mal.
scores
Congrats,
here,
Malhouse.
but nobody expected BNK to win, including T1. And I think T1 came in and they were like, we're better, we're prepared enough, we're going to beat them, and they did not give them enough respect. And BNK took advantage of that, played really well, and deserved the win 100%. So then T1 are coming into the series against DK like, we're going to be very prepared. We're going to crush them. We're definitely the better team. We should absolutely win this series. They start off with, a little bit of a risk. They take the Zariyumi, and it pays off, and they win game one. And even in game one, they're like happy gaming and like doing all these crazy things, like flashing into 3 or 4 people and like getting punished for it and still winning. And I think a lot of that mentally will just be like, this just confirms everything we thought coming into the series. We're the better team. We can kind of do whatever we want. We can draft any way we want.
Yeah, that's why I opened with they fucked around and found out,
Yeah.
because that's precisely what it looked like.
And they're just like, okay. And then game 2, they win as well. And it's like, all right, that one was a little bit closer in terms of like draft and play, whatever. They win the game. And then it goes to game 3. And all of a sudden, I think, T1 have convinced themselves that they're just going to 3-0. Everybody thinks they're going to 3-0. Except the players actually playing the game on the side of DK who get a really good they get a good draft. They begin to get some momentum in terms of smites, in terms of some of the team fights, and then this is how reverse sweeps happen all the time, where it's like one team is 100% going to win, everybody thinks it, and then the unexpected happens because they're not playing the way they should. They're not checking all the boxes because they just assume the game's already over. This happens in not just esports or league. It happens in real sports as well. It happens in everywhere in life. And I think that T1 just got surprised big time.
It's kind of almost
by DK.
ironic because I feel like it happens to DK all the time.
Yeah.
Like they're the team that classically, as soon as they lose that embarrassing ego game, then they fall apart. Thankfully for them, that didn't happen when they went for their like ludicrous draft. Like, what was the series?
It was DNS.
Yeah, the DNS series, that one game that they lost, and I was like, oh god, we're going to 5 and it's over. Which it could have done if they didn't get back on the horse. But I was really scared at that moment because it's happened to DK all the time, where they just haven't had the mental to pull themselves back in, which is why I was so impressed today when they're able to do so against T1, who have always had the mental advantage over DK.
And that's why I know that we are spending time talking about T1 and trying to contextualize what happened both from a mental standpoint and from a tactical standpoint. But I really want to remember this series for D+, because even after they get a couple smite steals, eventually get the Elder, or get the Soul, the Infernal Soul, and still look shaky in those fights, like, oh my god, we're beating T1, right? The young guys figuring out that they can do it after getting slapped around in games 1 and 2. In game 4, right? This is the one that I feel like people are going to forget. Showmaker was 0-5 on Cassiopeia, and you had a double hand face palm, weird groaning noise from Lucid in the player voice after they tried to gank mid, and he gets completely outplayed and embarrassed under the mid tower after Showmaker already dies.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that to me was like, oh, it is over, for real. And Showmaker just kept dying. He was laughing on the camera. And what maybe from the outside looked like history repeating itself to us, it then reminds me of the moment that Vikla was able to have in BNK Virex's series, where it was like, okay, I have a feeling like we're going to win, we're going to be okay. Let's flip in the draft. Let's flip the Rise up to the top side. Let's pick Yone. Let's keep going. Let's figure this out. And the kids, the babies, were able to carry Showmaker and figure it out in that game 4. I think obviously he played well. He had the charms that led to the kill in game 3 that eventually ended the series. He had a solid game in game 5, but it was the game 4 kind of catastrophe in the early game that didn't break them, and they were able to keep going, that is so remarkable. And I think as a D+ fan, if you are a D+ fan, that's what I want people to remember.
It's also, that was like an extraordinary draft gap. I want to say that
that's
like
what I wanted to say.
the biggest thing for me, and I think the one person that I feel is the most prone to tilt is CV Max on that team. And I know CV Max is very like, I know that he does like to contribute to draft a lot. I know a lot of teams, coaches barely even get to say anything, right?
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of players that do like to take full control. I know CV Max is pretty adamant about making sure that he has an idea about what a draft looks like.
Funnolution.
I'll
never
Talia
forget.
Pantheon, yeah, all that sort of stuff. And sometimes it's horrendous. He gets an idea into his head about what's good and doesn't do it. I think what we saw in the last 3 games of this series was identification of what players need to be doing in order to succeed and creating a cohesive draft around that. And that's something that he's never been able to do. Like, I feel like CV Max's biggest issue was not knowing where the players' strengths were and then applying the draft instead he would just say, oh, this is a good draft, we should make it work, without factoring in the mastery of the players. I think what he did and what he figured out in this series was a way to do both, which I think is character development. I still think that there could be less crying players during the series.
If you didn't watch the series, Career cried after Game 3, where they won.
Yeah.
And we had a camera shot of CV Max standing over a kind of hysterically crying Career that did not look good, and then we were able to get more camera angles of what happened. And
to CV Max's credit, he was crouched in front of him.
It looks like, because the
one shot,
broadcast
it was like
flashed
he
it
was
pretty quick. It looked like he was over him.
When I walked past, he was crouched in front of
Yeah,
Korea,
later
but he
on,
was
yeah.
speaking pretty animatedly. The thing is, I don't know what he was saying,
Yeah.
so we can't attribute anything to anyone. And Korea had a bit of a stinker to start things off.
He
and
started
also
crying at the end of like when they
when they were walking
won.
off.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that a lot of it was to do with the fact that he felt so much pressure after those first 2 losses, and he'd been under a lot of scrutiny after their last few performances. Like
His blitzcrank was bad.
and also he lost to Yumi, and his Yumi was horrific. You know, like must be a lot of things playing on his mind. So to be able to pick up that win, like the Nami looked fine, and then be able to turn the series around mentally, I think his Alistair was pretty good.
Yeah.
You know, to be honest. And I tweeted about this. I was like, he didn't necessarily have a good series. However, he didn't int. After like having 2 really bad games,
After inting.
he didn't. Yeah,
He didn't.
after the inting, he didn't int more.
Just like solo queue, that's all you want. Just stop inting.
Showmaker inted and he locked in after inting, like in the Cassiopeia game.
Yeah.
no, and in the Tristana game.
Yeah.
Did you see that flash?
Flash for
He's
the
like,
egg.
I gotta get me an egg, boy. It was very weird. However, they still won that game because all he had to do is play like cannonball.
Yeah.
That's all he needed to do. Oh my goodness, what a time to be alive! It was just it's a weird series to kind of
You know,
I don't know,
I
quantify.
was thinking about one thing because for T1 specifically, I feel like the T1 formula has often been, like we talk about the T1 Baron a lot and how that's been kind of subdued with how difficult Baron is to take. And, you know, especially if you're not able to get control of Dragon, which we saw them struggling to do this series. I feel like a lot of games T1 has bailed themselves out of by going, we'll stop Baron, right? We'll execute on that. We'll get the objective. Baron's weaker now. It's also harder to take, but also D+'s tendency to pick blue side. If you're in the Baron pit and D+ are approaching from blue side, we saw that 2 times in this series, right? T1 in the pit and like unable to escape. I wonder if that was like a factor in this one. I don't know.
Also, maybe the synergy between Pays and Owner isn't as good as Guma and Owner, who have played many years together, and Ren's not coming in at the right time. Or, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can try to pick and pull apart.
Yeah.
I will say that for T1 fans, I think they'll be fine. You know, like,
Yeah, I think a lot of it
this
does
is
come
just
down,
LCK Cups.
like they didn't practice very much, right? They had an incredibly full docket over the sort of Christmas period and stuff like that. So I think they've been pretty outspoken in like there hasn't been a lot of time to like aggressively scrim or anything like that. So that plays a part. I don't want to like say, oh, this team's going to be bad now, because we know that they're not. Like, we saw in the first 2 games, even today against DK, that we know what happens when they lock in and win. The thing is, they just, messed around a little bit too much.
Yeah.
I mean,
for me, it was like Genji and T1 are heads above everyone else by like a big margin. And then obviously that didn't fully come true through the results. But even still, after seeing the results going into LCK, I'll probably still just have T1 as second best behind Genji domestically. That's just the way it works.
Also, Worlds is still like 8 months away, so
Yeah.
there's plenty of time.
Yeah, I think for like road to MSI type stuff, I'm probably going to have T1 at 3rd or 4th, because it's not Worlds yet. And then we'll just put them at the top for Worlds. Not for LCK at the end of the year.
And plus, I mean, they only came 4th, right? It's not like they did something really embarrassing like coming 10th. Like, that would really be crazy.
Well, HLE really did skip slander, didn't they?
Well, it
until
goes
now.
back to what you're saying. T1 having a full schedule. I mean, really, they're only getting a week back, whereas Hanwha, they got themselves
true.
a month back,
Value.
right?
Yeah,
To-
they got
to
a bunch of time.
to scrim against the bros.
Hey, as they keep
They don't have to
dropping,
go to Hong
they get
Kong
more
for a
of
week,
them.
Like, that's great.
Yeah.
Don't have to travel.
I think also now's a good time to point out that Valdez and I thought that T1 were going to be first place winning.
Yeah, this is a great time to really hammer that home.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
we can
job,
actually-
buddy.
we can
Let's
have a-
slap hands. All right, we
But
missed.
we can talk about potential
We never
results
missed,
as well.
though.
Because do you guys know what the best result that any of us can have is 3 out of 8.
3 out of 8. Yeah.
Like that's that. I'm not including HLE because they were out already, but like
Dang.
that's the best we can do.
Oh, that's
Good job, guys.
I think we all deserve a point for HLE. We all nailed that one.
All right, we can get 4. And the thing that's absolutely hilarious is that those that believed in D+, if D+ wins, they'll get punished. Because everyone had top 2 as T1 Genji, right? So if D+ wins, then they'll be out of that 3rd spot, and so they'll get it wrong.
Yep.
But if B&K wins, then D+ will be 3rd, and they'll be like, yay, we did it. But it's not actually how it kind of works.
So it's actually a reversal.
It's a reversal, yeah.
Well, I guess for, again, me and Brendan, if B&K wins and then wins LCK Cup, then we are locked in and correct with Genji being second.
Yeah, so
Because we
basically,
thought-
the
yeah.
team you put forth, the team you least believe in, has to win the whole thing for you
Yeah.
to get the most points.
Yeah, you need to try and fill the gaps
Yeah.
of like the T1 gap. You got to fill that gap with someone else that no one predicted. And
Sorry,
Yeah.
Ati. It's not your time to shine. Send in next.
it's been definitely an
I love the
unexpected turn.
mascots.
What's the most weird outside of the HLE being eliminated thing? Bros being in 8th place is understandable.
Pretty normal.
Tied with KT is the funniest part.
Yeah, it
because-
has to be KT, right?
Yep, KT definitely not really doing what we were expecting. We did have a bit of a chat about KT. I think that this team is just going to be KT, and they'll KT
Well, they need to
until
figure
they
out their
stop
support.
KTing.
If they can get a support or a person who can play support or learn how to play support, they'll be a great team. But as of now, it's really weird, but they're really held back by the
do you
fact that
think
they don't have a
Do you think
support.
Beryl could possibly convince people
insane.
that like
This is
but like being a support for KT is kind of like military. And so he gets to serve his time in the military by playing for KT.
Okay.
Maybe that could be the way that they do it. They could
It's a great
finagle that.
angle.
I
I
hate
like
that
that.
This
yeah.
angle isn't dead.
This is
Yeah.
this is cultural military. That's what he's doing. He's
I
doing
think-
cultural
I
military.
think he's probably having more fun in the military right now.
There's been some good Genshin patches recently. You know. Also, like what came out, like Arknight's Enfield.
Enfield.
I'm sure he's been playing that.
Let's build some factories.
Factory building.
That's
We could-
kinda like
you could talk to Pony about
being
that. He
on
loves
KT.
that game.
That
Or we
sounds
did.
fun. Maybe I should get into that.
No,
No.
don't. No. Okay, we've gone a little bit off topic. Sheepman, where are we going?
We're going to Hong Kong.
We're going to Hong Kong.
That's what it says here.
We're only up to
Going to
number
Hong Kong.
3?
We haven't talked about what's going to happen in Hong
We also
Kong.
haven't told
All right,
people how
sheep
many we
man.
have.
Or what does it mean?
Don't cheat yourself.
but I always sheet myself on the Pog
Do
State.
these get
It's my
sweeps
thing.
or
No,
not?
if
No.
you say sheet, you're fine.
Yeah.
Do you remember like what was Wadid saying? Clean sheet. That was some clean sheet right there. I think that's what he said on the space.
Yes, I remember. And you went, what? And I was like, time to turn off Twitch chat.
Well, it just reminded me I lost 11,000 channel points on T1 losing game 5.
Yeah, I saw someone.
Why did I do that?
I saw someone lost 110,000 channel points.
How do you guys? How?
We're not betting on bro every time, dude.
What is the most that you've had? Because I don't think I've had more than
I had
12,000
30K.
I hit 90K after just winning back to back to back. But
Yeah.
then I sort of stopped predicting because I felt like it was like insider trading, you know?
It's not.
I don't know why. I just felt like it was.
Well, you can just lose your points on T1 as
Yeah,
well,
true,
you know?
I guess.
Like, they were supposed to win, right?
I don't even remember, but I have this tendency just to all in every time, so it's
Yeah.
it's not conducive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I all in except 1,500 so I can pay the bro tax. But then when you're like, oh no, it's going bad, bros. Time to tax up again. I'm like, time to use the mod powers and say, tax up, bros. Hopefully no one notices that I don't have extra tax.
There's definitely those people who like study it and they're like, I'm gonna put specific amounts on this one. Like I'm gonna judge the odds and do this. And by specific people, I mean Chronicler.
Yeah.
You know he's sitting on like a mountain of channel points at home.
No, he must actually stop predicting now because like channel points are meaningless to him.
Yes.
You know, and he was a bro anti forever, so he doesn't even need to pay bro tax.
Meaningless. Are you
No,
saying
because
that
he'll
something...
predict, but he won't need to put it like he won't need to spend the channel points because he has infinite billion channel points and nothing to spend them on.
Okay, but we've learned in life that even if you have almost infinite amounts of stuff, billions, men still want more, right?
Ah, greed.
Yes.
True.
Sheep
That is a
police. Sheep
human.
Let's not
affliction.
get into this.
Sheet police.
We're going to Hong Kong. Predictions for lower finals.
I think B and K are probably going to win. Because that's what I assumed last time when I did my fake draft that nothing actually worked out. But I do think B and K are a better team.
In my mind, I think both of these teams are going to be nervous wrecks. And then I think,
Anything could happen.
everything we've seen up to this point, maybe DK are better prepared because, they were
They
in
do
a really
have
high-pressure
Showmaker who has traveled
situation.
before.
Yeah, and, they were able to do a reverse sweep against T1, so...
Has no one traveled
Vickler's
before?
traveled before. He's Mr. Worldwide.
Oh, that's true. Vickler is Mr. Worldwide.
He did
Little
get
bit
to
of
play
different versions
He
of
did get to
travel.
play
Kellen's been to Worlds.
Raleigh,
unfortunately,
North
for the
Carolina.
performance that was
He has.
In Korea.
Wow.
a little bit of traveling.
Yeah, true. And actually, Kellen's been.
Kellen?
He'd been prior as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. So never mind.
Like,
Yeah.
but I feel like
Diablo,
Showmaker has gone and,
how is
succeeded and
career
stuff.
going to even function? Like, in front of a real crowd in a foreign country?
Because he already cried. He already
He
had
got it
them.
off his chest, man.
Yes.
I don't think he did. Like, he was
think he
interviewed.
did.
He was interviewed after crying twice, after Game 3 and after Game 5.
Yeah.
And he looked like he was about to cry again.
I think he was
during
just
the
tired.
interview.
Yeah, emotions are high.
He's tired.
Well, it's not even just about the crying. I'm just worried about
Brendan,
like,
I've seen this movie
pressure,
before,
you know?
okay? The stress is going to build up, and then, before, they're going to struggle, right? There's going to be the build-up of emotions. It'll look like everything is lost.
And then there'll be a blue bottle with, tape on it that says Michael's secret stuff, or in this case, CV Max's secret stuff. And they're all going to stand around in the locker room and they're going to drink, Showmaker will drink it first and be like, whoa, I'm so strong. And all of his muscles are going to start popping out. And then they're going to go out there and the Monstars will go down, man.
That's
That's
Murray.
what's happening.
Bill
That's the
Murray with
movie,
the final
right?
shot.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Oh my God. I love
You're going down, Vikla.
his last line when they're like, hey man, you're actually pretty good. He's like, no, I'm going to have to hang it up. I'm like,
hang it up, kid.
yes, Bill Murray, you will.
It's all going to come together. You just don't believe.
Please, if you understood that reference, let us know so we
Everyone's
don't.
seen
There are a
Space
couple
Jam.
of
Come
Let us
on,
know just in case we're old.
So
All of them.
Gen G, if I could vote 4-0 in the finals, I would.
yeah.
You should vote
Like,
4-0 and see if
There's
they fly
just
it.
no chance
Did you guys
for
realize
any other team. Like, I don't care if DK win 3-0 against BNK. They're going to get 4-0'd by Gen G in the finals.
See,
I
I-
just don't think it's possible.
See, I agree that Gen G are going to win. I just don't know 100% if it's going to be a 3-0. Because even though Gen G has been dominant, they've been like a little sloppy in this series.
And they've dropped a game to both of these teams.
Yeah. So
And
like
I do think that BNK and DK will both not be able to handle the pressure even more in the finals against Gen G.
I don't know. There is an underdog mentality that I think pays off. I think we've seen it work in the past. And I think that if either BNK or DK get to the final against Gen G, no one expects them to win. And I think that that's
Especially
really
me.
powerful. I think it's really powerful.
Me more than anyone else.
Yeah.
4-0. I'm signing it now.
Nobody. The one thing I was going to say, though, is there is a cool thing about, like, because oftentimes in double elimination, the finals is really annoying because theoretically you should have another final if the first seed team loses.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 4-0.
Because that's how it should go. However, Gen G does get right of both selection as their extra thing. So they get
Blue
to
and
choose
first pick.
side and first pick.
so they could have blue side and first pick?
I know.
Wow.
Has
Isn't
that ever
it
been
crazy?
done in League of Legends before? Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
It's kind of funny that we see like LCK's trying to throw a little bit of a bone to the first seed. I only recently noticed that it was there, and I just think it's kind of funny.
Yeah, actually, when they spoke about it, I complained that like in double elim, when they were doing right at first selection, I'm like, this just means in double elim, the winners bracket team gets even less. And I was like, they should do the best of 7 with weighted.
Yeah. Weighted best of 7 is 100% the way.
Yeah,
it's
and they were like, you know what?
4-0.
No.
LCK Cup would have been the perfect time to try the weighted best of 7 though, and I think
Yeah.
that would have been like better.
It will be
Yeah.
in 2027.
Hopefully.
Yeah. And then Brendan could have got his 4-0.
It's still right.
Oh my God!
Still 4-0.
Wait,
It's actually the Gen G 2027 prediction for
why don't you just put it in as a 4-0 and it'll be written down as 4-0 and then it won't be a 4-0 and you'll get it wrong, but at least you'll have it there.
If they would let me do it, I would.
They might. Why don't
They
you just
won't.
write it
Why
down?
are you stopping yourself? You
Your
haven't even done
keyboard
it
They
is
yet.
won't let me do
capable
that.
of
We
putting
have
4-0.
tried before of putting POG as the player that inted on the other team.
Okay, but
and they don't let us do that.
That's a lot more
That's
BM.
not
That's
allowed
BM.
in the criteria.
That's BM.
This is also
That's a
BM.
lot more BM.
It's saying like this
No,
team
you're
is
praising.
so much better.
You are praising the team that's doing well, not highlighting the player on the
Yeah,
other
that's
team
kind of.
who's
bad.
doing
Yeah.
well for the opposite team.
Kind of.
I feel like there is an element of toxin in the whole praising the guy that threw.
Brendan
Yeah.
Berger, toxic Valdez. That's
Yeah.
messed up.
Maestro.
Toxic.
I never knew that you also hated players. I thought you just hated blast
Burgers, blast cones.
and burgers. He loves burgers. He's a New
And
Yorker.
Rio's drafting. But now he's on Gen G, so now his drafting is great.
Dun dun.
Is it though? I don't know. I feel like at the beginning,
That's what everybody says.
it's been better
I mean,
towards
it's-
the end of
it's-
the
yeah. I
tournament.
think it's funny how narratives can be totally different on different sides
Of the coin.
The coin.
the Ryu coin?
Because it does seem like the Korean side very much has been praising Ryu's drafting for a long time.
A long time.
Yeah.
We've
he
been
got it
praising
right.
it for like 8 months. I
Yes,
think.
yes. That the second half of last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely gotten better.
Gen G's drafting.
Maybe
has
that's why
been-
Gen Z picked it up.
It's been great because they've been winning. If you win, your drafts are good.
Yeah,
That's
that's true.
Outcome focused assessment, Daniel.
that's how it works. How can your draft be bad if you win the game? It's that simple. You know, you
very
pick
true.
Callista Renata into Ash Seraphine, but you win. Good draft.
Genius.
You know who's been doing this a lot recently, which I really enjoy, is LS on Twitter. People will be like questioning like item choices and stuff, and he's like, "How dare you question this player? Obviously, he knows so much better." Like being sarcastic because that's what
Yeah.
people used to say about
Yeah,
him
yeah.
when he was talking about itemization. When he was I mean, he still does on streams and stuff, but.
Thankfully, he has like the Riftbound outlet now as well.
Yeah.
So he does get to split it instead of it all being funneled into being sad about people getting upset about League of Legends. It's been good, I think, for LS to have like that extra outlet.
Yeah.
Unless things are going badly in both places, I imagine it could
So,
compound.
LCK Cup Finals Philippines 2027?
Well,
I think Vietnam first. It's got to be Vietnam first.
was
right?
Vietnam
Are we
first,
are we all? Is it everyone on the B&K? Just,
Oh.
we don't have to lock it in, but is
So-
everyone B&K making it to the finals?
If I had to
No, I have
predict,
no
I'd flip
idea.
a coin and just
I
toss
have
the
literally
coin.
no idea.
Certain yet.
Yeah.
Also,
Okay.
regarding the
It's impossible to predict the first.
I do
Regarding
feel like
the-
B&K have the edge in my mind.
regarding the Philippines question, I feel like we should really defer to our Filipino representative. But unfortunately, Wolf isn't here.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a shame. Yeah.
So we'll have to wait for an episode when he is here to speak to him about it, because he's really reached out to the Filipino community.
Yeah.
When it came to that
Yeah.
point,
He's been there so many times
Yes,
as well
he
over the
drew-
last few years.
he tweeted out to them, got a lot of connections, covered a lot of ground. So I think the community's been really
I
welcoming.
do think
to
someone
him.
else did tweet at them after the fact.
Oh, just trying to ride on his coattails a little
Yeah,
bit.
coattail riding. It's just it's a bit awkward, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of makes me feel upset. I did do it as well. I didn't get as many interactions. it was a shame.
Little-
Good effort.
I deleted it like 3 minutes later. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm just too embarrassed.
So LCK Cup New York City win, you know?
Yeah. LCK Cup Australia?
Oh my god!
Get out the didgeridoo!
That would be a banger, and I'd love New York because you just know I'd be there, be like, I'm walking here.
Wait, you think they would bring you for that, or? I don't know. I think probably Umpty, maybe. Yeah.
If he walks
Instead.
there though, it'll take him way too long.
It would.
And if we go to England,
Why did you struggle?
Island! What are you talking
yeah,
about?
would you want to go, or?
We're gonna
Just
go
curious.
to Birmingham.
Is it Newcastle over Leeds? Birmingham. That's next level.
I was just trying to get street cred. I'm walking here.
I'm walking here.
Bruv.
What you looking at, bruv?
I'm in the Birmingham. Have you been to Birmingham before?
A couple of times.
Is there a good fish and chip shop there?
Yeah, one of the best. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. I love Birmingham.
I think that was my favorite cast of the last 2 weeks was geography with Brendan and Dan.
You called me a New Zealander.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Because I knew it would.
Yeah, you
tilt
knew
too.
that one. What was the other thing? You said something else that I think that you were genuinely confused about, and it was very funny.
Yes, I
it
don't.
about wedding?
I can't remember what it was.
I can't remember what it was either. But you did something where I was like, "Oh my god!"
It was not as bad as hysterics with the marsupials thing.
my god.
But it was pretty weird. I seem to remember. We are towards the end of the episode. Don't worry, guys. we will wrap this up at some
Let's keep
point.
going.
Instead of just talking loosely about marsupials and weird things about geography. First stand going to be coming up pretty soon. We've got a couple of representatives that are looking like they're going to be heading over there.
Well, one's
we don't-
definitely.
One is definitely, as Gen G are locked in. But we don't know who the next one is. I don't think it necessarily matters. I think that
It's
B&K,
crazy
DK both in a very similar
not
power
T1.
level. And it is insane that it's
Or
not
Hanwha.
T1.
I think it's actually,
Yeah.
I think it's important because I feel like when you're traveling to a different country, it's nice to have people you can hang out with. So
True.
I think, Gen G having another team they can hang out with, eat with, it'll be a nice environment when they collect the first stand tournament trophy.
Yeah, that's true. That's like
Yeah.
Showmaker and Canyon can hang out together. And like
Exactly.
Canyon can be like, look at my new trophy. And
Yeah.
Showmaker can be like, that's a cool trophy, man. I haven't seen one of those for a while. And Canyon's like, oh, I've got more.
Like, have you gotten a new Worlds one? That would be the only way to get him back to make
Yeah.
it both hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he'd just like throw 15 LCK trophies at him, and then Showmaker would be dead.
I think
Because they're really big.
I think
those trophies.
regardless if it's D plus or if it's being K Fearx, we're sending going back to the word mercurial bot laner, right? Whether it's Diablo, whether it's Smash, I think it's going to be so fun to see
Oh,
them
heck
go
yeah.
up
Like,
against
bot
whoever in the
laners,
world.
like, that
What
is a very cool
mercurial
prospect.
Bot laner. What does that mean?
Like
They're
a-
made of
a star.
mercury.
They're a star.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said it like that.
Unlike our other team, which only has ruler,
Wouldn't like
Who?
So would you say
Yeah.
that Smash and Diablo have like a really low like what's the word when it goes from a solid to a liquid?
Viscosity.
Boiling point?
It's not a boiling point when it's metal, though, is it?
Melting point?
I think it's
It's a weird
viscosity.
number. That's what mercury
think it's
does. So
viscosity.
that's not viscosity.
This is
that's
why we're
just based on how
casters
thick something is.
and not
Never mind.
scientists.
Someone in the comments, please let us know what we're trying to talk about. What the heck does
I
mercurial
just
mean
think
in
it's
this
crazy
context?
that, this year, 100%, even more than T1 losing today, I feel like the most obvious thing that should have happened this year would be Genji and T1 going to first stand. Like,
Yeah.
after Hama Life
Yeah.
Esports got knocked out, it would have been like, okay, well, we're sending Genji and T1. I think even Canyon was asked, like, who do you expect to be the other seed? And he was like, well, T1. Like, it's crazy that DK, like, if DK go, it's not that crazy. If B&K go, I think a lot of fans will be like,
ASI champs?
they'll be like, who is this team? Like,
No.
who are these guys?
I
You
think
know?
it's kind of crazy if D plus go because none of us are ready to believe, right?
No,
we talked
it's-
about this.
It's still
We can go
crazy,
back
but at least
and-
they have Showmaker.
No, but we can
Like,
go back and check the tape because we talked about this on the Pog States. None of us really believed in D plus,
No.
No.
right? And even like last LCK Cup, they looked way better starting off, and then completely bombed,
Yeah.
right? So we just did not trust them, and I still kind of don't.
Yeah,
But
neither do I.
you
Well,
know,
it's like, who did you believe in most? Do you believe in D plus Kia getting the job done and winning a best of 5? Or do you believe in Vikla, that he's turned the corner and can be someone that can play through in B&K Fear X? Because that was my biggest
I think
fear.
it might be
with them.
his year.
It's the year, dude.
I'm
It's
just
still
ex-
the year, dude.
You know what?
Like,
I'm
not-
excited.
Where
for
is
Doo-Doo
It's
Doo-Doo
just a little
Valdez?
bit of a road bump, okay? He doesn't have to win LCK
it's
Cup.
the year, not the month,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Ah, true. And LCK Cup stats go poof. So
They do.
we can just
They're not
ignore
real.
them.
I'm excited for Bank of Busan to be like, yes, this is us. Global stage.
Yeah.
Bank of Busan, a bank of a city.
Heck
I
yeah.
really do think it's going to be crazy if they go because it is still crazy if DK go, but it's still D plus Kia, former Dom 1 Gaming that so many people know because they won Worlds and they've been at internationals before. Whereas B&K, it's like, who are these? Diablo? Like, I think there will be
do
like some
agree with that.
LCK fans in the chat that were like, you guys don't know about Raptor? You know, like former bro talent. Like this guy, he is amazing, and I just think it's going to be really cool if they end up going, right? Because, we have Genji, the very obvious, everybody knows every single player, and then who the hell are these guys? And that's going to be awesome for a lot of the fans.
I think we have the deciding factor.
What's that?
Well, we know that Jen Rangi's going.
Oh,
I don't know if D plus Kia have a mascot,
that's true.
but we do know that if you slap him in the back of the head, Nex is going to get bouncing. In Brazil, they have Carnival. They like the
Oh,
dancing. They like the
true.
bouncing. Boom! B&K for X.
it has to be.
I guess so.
It's a good pitch.
Yeah.
I'm buying into it.
Wait, wouldn't it be like it'd have to be like Teeny Pings or something like that's got to be a mascot of of D
Or a
plus
Kia.
Wait, but have you
or
also?
a Kia? Yeah, it's just a
It's just a
Sorrento.
car.
They also, 'cause, like,
Heck
like
yeah.
the different mascot like costumes, like some of them, like they have different. Have you seen some of the cases for some of them are massive?
Oh yeah.
How are you gonna transport them to Brazil?
Throw it really hard.
Like with a Syndra W?
Oh
that
wait,
real?
Is that real? Is that real? Is that real? Okay, all right. In with
Boom.
Is that a truck?
It's a car.
That's a bit on the nose. Oh, it's a car,
It's
not
a
a
Kia.
truck. That's okay. That's all that. Ah, it's a cute car. Okay. I've never seen it before. However,
it better
I
be
want
there.
to. And if it's in the shape of a Sorrento by the time we see it, that would be even more funny. You know, my father-in-law tried to sell me one
Oh,
only 2 days ago. Oh my God! It actually is
it
just
doesn't
a
have
car.
legs. It has wheels.
That's what a car does have, Dagon.
I can't believe Deacon didn't know that. That's crazy.
That's crazy, man. All right, we have to end this episode. It's been going long enough, but I'm glad that we now know that D plus Kia does have a mascot. It's a car. It has wheels. I do think that the person in said car is going to have to Fred Flintstone just a little bit to make that thing go because they looked a little bit like they were made out of paper mache, but that is absolutely fine. If we got anything that we want to ask everyone that's watching today, maybe like what the most surprising thing was or what their predictions are for B&K or DK or something like that?
Did all of you know that cars have wheels?
Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah.
It was at which moment did you give up on D plus Kia making the reverse sweep? Like, was it the the early losses that was it? Was it the 0-5 Cassiopeia? Was it the gank attempt in the mid lane? Was it when everyone was in position and they messed up the first Callista rend, and you're like, T1's not gonna mess that up again.
Was there any D plus fans who were watching the series and stopped watching? Was there a point where you stopped watching?
I think that's it.
And then one of your friends messaged you and was like, tune back in now, lock in.
Yeah, because the viewership kept going up. It was going up the whole time. It was awesome to watch. And like, again, I said it when we closed the show. This is the night to remember if you are a lifelong T1 fan, D plus fan.
Night to forget for them.
Oh man,
the amnesia could not come soon enough.
But yeah, like especially if you're a new one, like let's say you heard that Damwon Gaming won a world championship, you tune in, you like that team, and then it's gotten progressively worse, and you're kind of waiting for that magic. That there it was. There's 5 minutes left in the day of the time of the recording, and I'm savoring all of it. It is so cool to see.
I do have a friend, which some of you guys know.
You have a friend?
All of you guys know. Tyler.
Good old Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler.
He brought fantastic pizza for Brendan's birthday.
He did. And he asked me when he was first getting into LCK, like, who should I be a fan of? Like, who's a good team? Who has, like, a...
And I said, say KT?
Oh, no!
I wouldn't have said KT.
That would have been hilarious.
You actually care about Tyler. That's so cute.
I said at the time Damwon because I think it was 2021. And I was like, he's got the Showmaker guy who's really entertaining. And also they're like very successful, obviously, around that time.
Yeah.
And ever since then, D Plus has been good, but not like top of the standings good. So this will be definitely a savory win for him.
Yeah. I think there's been not a lot of payoff for D Plus fans.
A lot of heartbreak.
For quite some time. And I think that they have a lot of fans. Like,
They do.
Like 2020 was a huge time, but also like their meteoric rise when they debuted in the LCK, I think they captured a lot of hearts. Like Nogari and Canyon and Showmaker were just so easy to love, and Beryl is the greatest player to have ever existed behind a keyboard. Like Ghost is really fun and a happy guy.
He plays
cool to hang
guitar.
out with. Plays guitar, things like that.
Electric guitar.
And support now.
And support. Wow, guitar and support. Justice for guitar. Absolutely fantastic. Yeah. Like that team was just very lovable. So I think that there is like a lot of payoff for a lot of people. But I think what we're doing is dodging around the fact that T1 fans are probably not too happy about how this has gone. But I imagine it's also a little bit like you can just jump back to the fact that all that matters is Worlds, right? You know, to those people.
They will use that cope.
For a lot of people.
Or it's just LCK Cup. Because they didn't win it last year either.
Yeah.
True.
And then they won Worlds.
Yeah. Maybe this is part of the strategy, you know?
I mean, it does seem like that, where you go a little bit less hard to give the players like a little bit of a break and some leeway, and then lock in when you gotta. Maybe that's what it is. I have no idea.
Well said.
I'm just basically clutching at straws because I don't want to make people sad. But you know what's not going to make people sad?
What?
If we ask them to like the Pog State, could you press the like?
And
No
subscribe.
sad likes, only happy likes.
Happy likes.
And leave a
happy
comment.
likes. And just
And
leave
the
a
bell.
happy comment. Yeah, and leave a happy comment and a happy subscription. And don't ring the bell because we all know that's annoying. You don't need to do that.
Oh my God.
You
no.
know, no one wants to ring any bells.
Rings the bell.
No one rings the bell. So many people ask you to ring the bell, and you're like, come on, man. Even the bell ding-a-linging when they ask you to ring the bell is annoying.
In the video when they're like, hey, did you know only 72% of
Oh,
the people
yes.
watching this video are subscribed? Isn't that crazy?
I'm like, no, I'm not subscribed. Obviously, it's not that crazy.
Also, it's very weird. I'm listening to your diary, Mr. CEO. Like, leave me alone.
And his channel's so successful. Why does he keep doing that? I don't know. Oh, he had a great episode with like a parent coach person. Oh, it was brilliant. Anyway, that's enough from us. We don't need to go into any more of this. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next time for the next episode of The Pog State, and enjoy our trip to Hong Kong as well. And I hope you guys like the
Fighting
show
on.
on a different shore.
Yeah, it'll be
Bye-bye.
so fun.